I rise to address this topic from the perspective of somebody who has worked for much of my professional life as an experimental test pilot, which is all about saying there's a bid for change, there's a new proposal, but will it work and will it have unintended consequences, and what are the facts? Now, that approach doesn't mean that I'm anti the new proposal. It doesn't mean that I'm somehow biased against the new proposal. It means that I'm applying due diligence, which is a feature of both the engineering world, the aviation world, the financial world, and in fact I would argue every household does their due diligence in a range of areas. But I want to come to these two topics that have been raised around race and around whether asking questions is legitimate. So to the race, can I quote? "The draft wording that's been announced goes beyond ensuring that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people have a right to participate in decision-making that affects them. It inserts race into the Australian Constitution in a way that undermines the foundational human rights principle of equality and non-discrimination and creates constitutional uncertainty in terms of its interpretation and operation." End quote. Now, I would invite people to guess who actually said that. It wasn't somebody from this side of the Senate chamber. It was Australia's Human Rights Commissioner, Lorraine Finlay, a well-established constitutional lawyer and human rights lawyer, somebody who works in that reference point for our nation around what is fair and equitable, and that is her assessment. And to the last part of her assessment, which goes to constitutional uncertainty in terms of its interpretation and implementation, it is worthwhile looking at the comments of people like former High Court Judge Ian Callanan, who said, "I would foresee a decade or more of constitutional and administrative law litigation arising out of a voice." Again, hardly someone you would say was stupid or racist. Or even to Professor Greg Craven, who is a constitutional law expert, and he indeed has been deeply involved in creating the voice. And he said, "I think it's fatally flawed," this is the Albanese Government model, "because what it does is retain the full range of review of executive action. This means the voice can comment on everything from submarines to parking tickets. We will have regular judicial interventions." End quote. So if eminent experts who are clearly not stupid, who are clearly not racist, are calling into question both the efficacy and the potential for unintended consequences, it is quite reasonable, in fact proper, for Australians to say, if you can't tell us the details, we won't support it.